Hello, my loyal companions. Welcome back to RogueCast, your dedicated Rogue Company podcast, hosted by me, Radthar, and joined, as always, by Mr. OctaneProTV. How are we this fine and busy week of Rogue Company?
Busy is an understatement. I right before literally going live, I had mentioned Radthar. I'm like, it has felt like so much has happened or not happened or been reverted, whatever you want to call it. In
Unhappened.
1 week since our last show, it's kind of like that's how I measure things now. It's like, okay, how much has happened? But yeah, I'm excited to talk about it today.
Yeah, no, lots to cover. We're going over very briefly the time to kill revert, the revert of reverting, of how we revert everything, of reverting. That's how I've been referring to it, basically. The amount of revert you get into the sentence, the better. We'll be talking about some of the changes we saw with the roadmap for 2021 summer. That's the best way of saying that. That was released, so exciting things there. Bunny is trying to be a numpty, but we'll get through this. And then we also got to go over some changes that I actually had today about King of the Hill and some new game modes like TDM. So we'll talk about all of that and should be nice and exciting. But to start with, I have talked this thing to death. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but I want your thoughts on it and your kind of final word. This is literally going to be my final word on the topic before I ban the word from my life. And this is time to kill. TTK, the Revert. We spoke about it last week. We spoke about how, the time to kill was feeling nice, how we were looking for a good hot fix on some of the broken weapons, and how, we just wanted to see how it felt going a few weeks forward. 2 days later, reverted, done, out. So, go. Your thoughts on the revert, your reaction, how are you feeling about it?
So I want to recap to the community a conversation that was had on the 18th of May, and it was a one word to Radthar. Cowards was what I said.
It was literally the DM I got.
Cowards. I said so pathetic.
Mm.
And I was concerned because my statement was to Radthar, not even going to try to balance weapons, TTK just going to revert back. And it was so frustrating to hear that I feel like as a developer, you need to stand behind the changes that you make.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to revert them, okay, revert them, but let's get some good information why. Not just because a bunch of content creators complained. It really frustrates me to hear like you didn't even try. Like you didn't even try to balance the game in that current state. And the reason I get frustrated was, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed the game better then than I enjoy it reverted back. I thought the time to kill was much more enjoyable of a game. It matched the pace of the game very well. And I thought it was a good direction to go. I mean, if you go back to our last podcast, I was excited for it. I was like, this is a great step forward. I feel that this is going to help propel the game forward, which is what it needs. And then to hear so quickly that I feel like it wasn't even worth the time.
Yeah.
We're gonna revert. Wait. You're doing what? You're reverting back. Well, what's the reasoning? Well, we got some negative feedback. So you realize that the minority are the individuals that complain.
Yeah.
Like when you do something well, most people aren't going to reach out and go, good job.
Yeah.
You did well. So I was not pleased in any way. I'm not pleased in that current state. I feel the time to kill is longer than it should be. I like the time to kill. I mean, oh my gosh, we got so into it. I mean, we got into how melee wasn't, the melee changes. We got into the meta changes with grenades now, and then the buying strategy, and it just, it feels like it feels like such a loss.
It really does feel exactly like that. And I mean, those things like the melee and the grenades and tenacity and still, they kept that, and they kept like the glitch, like balance changes and fixes tier being one shot. They kept that stuff. It's just that time to kill on the body shot that they reverted everything back to. And my thoughts were very much along the same vein of just like why why are we doing this? Because a bunch of people complained, and I admit the community was very 50-50. Like I wouldn't quite say it was the majority complaining. It was very 50-50 from everything and every poll I ever saw or took or asked comments or whatever it be. And I agree the game felt more fun on that time to kill, but I don't mind either. I really don't mind whether we go for a short time to kill, we go for a long time to kill. I just mind the way it went about. So, and it's kind of what you were saying with the cow statement of just like, why are we just like giving in so quickly when they didn't want to do it? I know they didn't want to do it. They don't want to revert it. They put so much time and work into those changes to balance them out, and they were working really hard to try and balance out the things like the Sahara and the conviction and stuff. Like, they were crunching numbers, trying to find the best way to balance that time to kill. And then it's just a quick revert, and it was just like, that's such a shame, because I would have just loved one more week, one hot fix on broken weapons, and then 1 week try out, and then revert it if people still hate it, and if it's still not working. And I get arguments for both sides. I do not mind which time to kill we had. It's just I did not want it to go down the way it did. It set a bad precedent for exactly what's going to happen. And I don't know if you saw Die Hard's video on weapon mastery, if you've heard about that. Yeah. What's gonna happen? Weapon mastery is gonna come into the game for a week and be reverted. Like, Reddit is already screaming about it. They're so mad.
One of the things, to go back just a second before we get into that part of it, one of the things that bothered me was I saw the time to kill change as a looking to the future. What is the future of this game, and what is best for the game? And I thought that current state of the time to kill was appropriate.
Yeah.
And then reverting it back, I feel like it's like reinvesting in something that didn't work. Like, we're just going to go back to it because, well, it's like, but we're trying to think ahead. Like, what's best for the overall game is not the current state of time to kill. What's best for the community right now might have been where we are today, but yes, you're going to lose some interested parties in the time to kill. So any change is going to cause people to go, I'm not playing this game anymore. Okay, that's fine. But if you look at long term, I felt like it was a win. Like it was a natural looking down the road. I think unfortunately, that's one of the challenges of a smaller publisher like First Watch or High Res, whoever you want to call them, Rogue Company, is the fact of, yes, they are so transparent to a degree that when the community cries, they're like, oh God, we got to do something.
Yeah.
And it's like, come on. Like, no, you don't.
Yeah.
No, you don't. And what frustrated me is based off of the Reddit post that was an announcement on the body shot damage rollback. They had said, based off the community feedback, it's like, how much time did you give that?
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Exactly.
Like feedback? Like, okay, whatever. So anyways, that's where we are today. It's a shame we are back where we are. Maybe they can find some hybrid that kind of meets in both areas, but time to kill. It was exciting to talk about. Now it's over.
Yeah, that's exactly. The time to kill is dead. I started a new hashtag, which is shut up about time to kill. That is the hashtag I've started, because
it's gone.
You know what's so really sad, right? It's the day that happened, the day the revert happened, a few hours earlier, and I had no idea the revert was happening, neither did anyone else. I thought, you know what? I hear people keep complaining about TTK. I'm gonna start a trend. Hashtag keep time to kill. That's what my tweet was. Hashtag keep TTK. 4 hours later, TTK has been reverted. I was like, okay, well, this is the end of that. Cool, great, we did it. So
we did it.
We did it. So yeah, that's my thoughts on time to kill. I'm ready to bury that whole issue now. I am banning it on my Twitch. The word is no longer allowed to be said. I refuse from this point on to talk about time to kill ever again. But we can talk about the future of Rogue Company and summer. All things that sound really positive and lovely, and it is not going to be good if we don't have a roadmap, and that is what we have. We have a roadmap for the next 3 phases of summer, I guess. It kind of aligns from now up until the end, or to mid-August is kind of actually like where that time frame is going to work out. And I know I've covered it here on the channel, but we'll go over it very quickly. Essentially, 3 different phases of different content, different like chunks of things they want to focus on over the next 3 months or so. And some of it looks really good. Some of it is things we'd expect. Some of it is stuff that we wouldn't expect, and we'll talk a little bit about it. But we'll start with kind of the first phase, which we saw this weekend on the PTS server. They released the PTS server. I got a chance to play a little bit. Nice. I've got some information based on the new game mode TDM, Team Deathmatch, based on some small little balancing changes that we'll go over more broadly.
We're excited to hear about it. I was away with the family again this weekend. Every time PTS comes out, I'm away with the family. But no, I'm excited to hear about it. You know, I got to see most of it with the update show that they did last week. So on that note, I hope we see more of those.
Yeah,
I hope that becomes more of an every 2-week type of thing. That would be really, really nice. It seemed like Pretty Hair and Scott Gandhi were kind of getting their feet wet of doing that together. You could tell there was a little bit of lack of synergy there. Now, if they came to Radthar and I and was like, hey, we want you guys to do an update
show. Could you imagine?
We nail it because the synergy is already live, baby. But outside of that,
This how good the synergy is. For you video podcasters, we're about to high five right now. Ready? 3, 2, 1. What you got to do to the side? There you go. You got to the side. You can't high five the front. Oh dear.
Well, I don't know what side you're on.
The audio podcast listeners just know that was seamless and flawless, and
beautiful.
proving the synergy. Video podcasters do not say anything different.
But that's right. But that being said, no, I think the update show was good. I like the avenue they took on it. Only thing I'd like to see more of with those update shows is more reasoning why. And I think that's they try to come off very transparent, but the downside is like, hey, we're making this change. And you and I have talked about this. It's like, guys, give us 30 seconds of why.
Yeah.
Like, we'd love to know, like, the TTK change. Oh, well, based off of feedback. Okay, well, what was the feedback? Like, let's give us something. I feel like not giving us those details is what really rubs the community the wrong way, and it actually shows a lack of transparency. But that being said, roadmap. Before we get into the summer roadmap, I'm going to be Debbie Downer and say I doubt they'll stick to this. That Rogue Company has not stuck to one entire roadmap yet since they have announced them, and I hate to be that guy. I don't sugarcoat things, so if that's what you're looking for, this is not the show for you. But like, there are a number of things on the last roadmaps that they have put out and just never said anything about. It wasn't like, hey guys, you know what roadmap we put out, we committed to? Well, we can't do that now, and here's why. That's all. As again, giving us reasons behind your decisions as to why things aren't going to happen. Instead, they just go another roadmap and hope the community forgets about
the creator event.
That's one example. It was on there. They kind of teased at it, like, oh yeah, in phase 3 we have a creator event, and it's like, awesome, you'll learn more soon. Okay, cool. Okay,
never heard anything.
We're moving on. We have a summer roadmap now.
I mean,
so that's the one thing about roadmaps where, if you're gonna release a roadmap, you better stick to it.
Yeah, I would agree. For me, I will counter this with one thing. There was nothing spectacular on that roadmap. There was nothing that for me that was like, no way they're doing this. Like, it was kind of like
the summer roadmap.
The summer one. I was like, so I was like, okay. They just kind of like, they showed off the new game mode for the first phase. They showed off new skins for the first phase, and they talked about some weapon changes, which we saw in the PTS. Okay, cool. So the first phase, we've seen it all. We know it's coming. Like, it's literally like on the PTS server right now. So how do you mess that one up? Phase 2, there wasn't really anything that was like spectacular. It was like 6v6 modes. So that's the one thing they could like do us wrong on by not bringing it out. But like, again, how hard is it to take an existing game mode and add 2 people aside? You'd hope not, right? How did that? And then the other side is season 3, and that was phase 3 is essentially season 3, and that is your standard new map, new rogue, new battle pass, and that sort of stuff, and then weapon mastery, which is I guess the one thing that we'll see. That's the one kind of wild card in there is weapon mastery. So it's like there's nothing in this roadmap that is like, to me, oh my gosh, how would you ever not release this? Like, that They kind of got it. Like, it's nothing complicated, is what I'll say. It's nothing like spectacular. But yeah, TDM is the one I want to touch on first. Because Team Deathmatch.
Well, before you get into that, hang on.
Ready.
About the roadmap, it's fine. I just want to make a point. You and I talked about this in detail. This roadmap, looking at it, is content packed full of cosmetics. So, hot Rogue summer content, cosmetics. Now, the next 2 items, I'm happy to see. Gameplay balance, awesome. But this should be like, every patch should be gameplay balance, guys. Gameplay UI improvement, okay, cool, whatever. New Rogue, okay. Time to kill, we'll talk about, or the TDM, we'll talk about that. They're having a free event, so that I imagine that's what was that Frozen? What was that called? Frigid Hall. My guess is the same thing.
Yes, it's the same thing.
It's like a mini quasi little battle pass deal to. And I'm glad to see this versus, what was it, Arms Race?
Arms Dealer.
Yeah, Arms Dealer. I'm like, thank God.
I think it's Arms Dealer. I'm not going to lie to you. I think the free event is the Arms Dealer Season 2. I'll tell you why. Because technically it has free-to-play element. Free event.
If that is the free event, I'm going to rip them a new one when that comes out. Because that is...
I'm
okay.
calling it now.
Lever and AFK improvements. I'm happy to hear about that. This is well long overdue, though,
Mhm.
guys. Well long overdue. Another new rogue. Okay, and the new rogues are in pace with what we'd
Yep.
expect. New map. Okay, cool. Battle Pass Season 3. Okay. Weapon mastery. I'm like, okay, like, do we need weapon mastery?
Mm.
I guess. My only concern there is when I read that in legendary and exotic weapon wraps. So
Yeah.
legendary and
Super.
exotic weapon wraps, that's just more cosmetics. But weapon mastery, I'm like, well, our rogue rank was a skull that
Mhm.
was lackluster. So who knows what lackluster little thing they're gonna give us? I'm
Oh,
like, oh,
I mean, weapon mastery is more than cosmetics. It's not mastery. It's okay.
give it to me, Radthar. Give it to me.
If you haven't heard this, get ready.
Nope.
Ready? So
Okay, ready.
and think Realm Royale. This is what I want you to think, because this is what I think when I hear
Okay.
this sort of
Okay.
stuff.
Okay.
Weapon mastery is you play with Ronin. You have the K30. You love the K30. You get the K30 to mastery level 1. You can now
Okay.
use the KA30 instead of another AR on a different rogue. So you can run into as Kestrel, and instead of using her Riptide, because you've got the K30 as level 1, you can use the Riptide instead. That's
No.
weapon mastery. So you
So there
basically
was
become global weapons of, if you can choose weapons out of the SMG class, out of the AR class, if your rogue has that. So like Ronin has an SMG and an AR, you can pick out of any SMG or AR. Phantom has a sniper and a AR, she can pick any sniper or any AR. This is the future of rogue.
so do you remember some time ago in PTS they were doing some weird thing with gadgets they were testing
Gambit,
out with like
Gambit,
yes,
yes.
gambits. Okay. And they were trying to like get away from individual rogue identity and kind of
Mm-hmm.
allow you to like kind of whatever, I don't know what the direction they were trying to go
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
but it was the direction of like, oh man. And I knew that was terrible. And we were like,
Mm-hmm.
this is a bad direction for the game. This is another one of those. This is a someone's playing with something that's not broken. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are individual rogues with individual abilities and weapons that do cross between some rogues. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine. Each rogue doesn't have their own individual weapon that isn't shared. That's okay. But they're all unique, and that's what makes the game enjoyable.
Yeah.
That crap isn't weapon mastery, and that crap's not needed. So I don't know what developer recommended it, but put their ass on the curb because no one wants that. No one wants that.
Dan, I read it.
That is insane. Like, oh my gosh.
It's a hit, isn't it? It's like I don't know what to think about it. I'm a little bit shell shocked about it, like, because
This is me asking again, who is asking for weapon
Mhm.
mastery in that way?
Yeah,
I thought weapon mastery was going to be like,
no
oh
sir.
my gosh, on pick a weapon on a rogue and you play it enough
Mhm.
and get X amount of kills. Let's say it's on
Yeah,
a kill level, which I think would actually be kind of cool versus
yeah,
just like XP. It'd be a kill level. You
yeah.
hit 10,000 kills on this weapon and you get this legendary weapon wrap that only can be
Mhm.
achieved by 10,000 kills on
Yeah,
that rogue. That's weapon mastery.
yeah, or like a
Because
headshot one
then
or something like that. You know, like it's just like different things like that, different challenges and
Yep.
cosmetics to go along
So
with them.
then when you're like in there and you're queued up with people and you're like, oh damn, this guy Radthar has
Mhm.
that skin. He must be pretty. Or you see the enemy has that
Yeah.
skin. That's weapon mastery,
Mhm.
guys. Do they need me to define that for them? Because apparently they don't know what. This is the same issue with custom lobbies versus private
Uh-huh.
lobbies. We have private lobbies right now, but they call them custom lobbies.
Yeah.
They are not custom lobbies, they are private lobbies.
Mhm.
Do not call things what they are not,
Yeah.
hoping that the community will look past them. Okay, rant over. I can't believe
And
that.
hey,
By the way, I
well,
can't believe that.
we have to August to really decide how we feel about this. But yeah, it's a shell shock is when you hear about weapon mastery and what the intention is. I
Mhm.
don't know how to feel. I get it. I actually do understand it, but I don't know whether the game needs it. It's kind of my vibe, and it's kind of like it's why I said Realm Royale to you is the way you've always talked about Realm Royale is they've just made these decisions out of like nowhere with Realm to completely curveball the way the game feels. And that's how it feels like what Rogue Company is doing with weapon
Mhm.
mastery. And then even the I'm gonna say again, even the time to kill kind of felt like that, but I just didn't mind it as much because it wasn't
Yeah.
it didn't really change game direction that much. It just like changed a little bit of the way the game is felt. But we've talked about it a few times. We talked about phase 1. Let's go into TDM. Let's actually talk about TDM, because TDM is the new game mode that is being teased. We're going to see it on the PTS server. Essentially, it is 4v4 currently on skirmish maps, so your depot, your district, and your rooftops. And it plays like TDM. It's 50 first to 50, 1 round. You buy when you die, which I don't like, I've decided. But
when would you think is appropriate, or
anytime? Anytime. I want to be able,
you know what, I thought of that when I was watching their reveal video of it. Was like, oh, you're gonna be able to buy all the time.
Yeah. I don't see why you wouldn't. Like, what is the harm in it? You know what? Ready? This is the harm in it. You buy a melee weapon, because this is how it works in the shooting range. You buy a melee weapon, throw the melee weapon, you go into your shop, you upgrade your melee weapon, and it gives you it back. That's how it works in shooting range. I don't think they can figure out that bug.
They just release another bug.
No, so what they do is they just say you can only buy when you die. I don't know if that's the case. I hope it's not, and they actually go through and like fix that, because I think it was. I said to Die Hard about it earlier. Actually, I said to him, I said, not being able to buy at any point means you are disadvantaged for playing the game mode and not dying. Like, if you don't die, you don't get to buy. And I'm a moron as well. I was running around, I keep forgetting to buy it, but having like 50 grand in my account. Just like not buying anything on Kestrel because I'm just running around and I die and respawn and continue, because the buy phase is just not long enough. So what I'd like is just to buy at any point. Imagine the outplay potential of just deciding that, like, hey, I've been on a really bad trade with this Seeker, right? And I'm Dallas. And we've got a fight. We're both really low, but I think he's about to push me. Well, I'm going to quickly hide behind this wall, buy Headstrong, gain an additional 25 HP, and then play it. It's not OP. It's a good tactical thing, and it's so rare that it's really going to happen. So it's like, it's not like that like game changing if you can buy as you go. But if you just get at a moment, you know, you've got 3 kills, you know, they're respawning, you take a second, you buy something, you know. I think that works better. I think that just is a better flow. I also think, honestly, it should be on bigger maps. I do feel like rooftops, it worked really nicely. District and depot, it was just kind of just a mess. Honestly, it wasn't that enjoyable. On rooftops, it actually was. I feel like the size of the map actually allowed it to be, but I think we need it on bigger maps. I think we need it on things like Icarus, on Factory, on maps like this where, you know what, people can camp, people may camp, but it will play better, I think, because what I was finding was there was, you know, when you play TDM and you respawn, you have those couple seconds where you choose which way you re-engage into the fight. Like, you choose, you know, you spawn, okay, I'm going to go flank around the left-hand side, or I'm going to go move in. It's kind of with some strikeout. That stuff doesn't happen with District and Depot specifically. It's like, okay, I spawned and, oh, they're behind me? Okay. I literally at one point...
the directional spawns, yep.
Yeah, I literally spawned into the pre-fire of a Mac ult. Like, I died, and then I spawned into... and I died before I moved. And I was like, okay. So yeah, that was a frustrating one. But other than that, like, I like the game mode. I like the core of the game mode. I think it needs a few small tweaks. Just being bigger maps and being able to buy whenever. I think that for me would make the game mode really good. Has good competitive standing. I think it has good replayability. I think it has good permanent game mode standing. I liked it. It didn't feel as refined as King of the Hill, but it didn't feel bad at all. That's my thought.
Yeah, I think what you're saying makes sense from the buy time period, like when it should be. Excuse me. But I will be honest with you, I think it's too difficult for their developers. And what I mean by that is Hi-Rez does a lot of this stuff where they add in these cool fun modes with all their games, but they don't venture too far outside of their comfort zone. So example, right now when you die, you have that buy ability, okay? Well, think of it this way. You know how you can then undo, like you can undo a purchase and things like that? Now you're asking them to entirely change that buy mechanic. Like we're literally changing up some of the fundamentals of the buy mechanic for a separate mode, and I just don't think they can do it. Like, I think it's too difficult for their developers. So unfortunately, you know, it's literally customizing the entire buy mechanic for an individual mode. And I don't disagree with you. It should be done. The downside is unfortunately they are a small development shop. This is through and through. This was a great example, was it with Realm Royale, where they put in all these limited time modes. And when I discussed it with one of their lead developers at the time, where it was like, hey, like this mode would be 10 times better if you just did this.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, we can't do that. We're literally operating on levers. So we just turn off this, turn off this, turn on this.
Yeah.
It's like we can't venture outside of that. And so I feel like that is the same thing that comes over into this, where like they can add in how many lives you have as a team, and they can add in, you know, what weapons, you know, are available. Like they can pull those levers, but to ask them to go outside the core mechanics of their game, it's unfortunately, it's not Fortnite. Like we look, and I'm not comparing Rogue Company with Fortnite, but what I'm saying is Fortnite has really laid the groundwork for custom games. Like just you could change everything you know about Fortnite in one game mode. Everything. Yeah. You can't do that in Rogue Company. It's just it's not, and it's unfortunate. I feel like a lot of these limited time modes, they're not given the latitude they deserve, because it's like, okay, we can do a limited time mode up to this point.
Yeah, there's barriers.
Exactly. And it's like, man, unfortunately, I think you and I both can agree those barriers are what hold them back as a developer from flourishing. It's like, unfortunately, if you're going to go limited time modes, you need to put together a small team that specializes in limited time modes, and you need to go outside those boundaries, because when you go outside those boundaries, your community sees it and gets behind it. And so, there's my little rant on development.
I agree, actually. I think you really hit the nail on the head there of what the issue actually is. And the thing with this one is, I actually think if they change it, that mechanic of the buy system, that second operating buy system, works for so many other modes. Free for all.
100%.
Like, 100%. You know, otherwise, they even talked about it and say, hey, do you like this whole, like, buy when dead mechanic? We'd love to introduce it to more games. I'm like, yeah, I love this whole buy whenever mechanic that you can now add to different games. You know, that's like my thoughts. Like, add it to more game modes. Make it another lever. Make it another lever that you can add, and you can switch or put which buy mode you want. You know, whatever it be. So that's I think you hit the nail on the head with that one of exactly what the issue is. But I don't think that should be a limitation. I don't think they should have those limits on themselves. Unfortunately. But hey, it kind of is what it is. I definitely think that's what's holding them back. It's what's taking some of these game modes from being amazing to just kind of being okay and fun. Like, you know, and that's a real downside.
Yeah, that's very true. Well, it is what it is. I mean, I'm excited to play it. I think it'll be a lot of fun. I like the run and gun. I like the respawn mechanic. I like how the cash drops. I think that's something different. That reminds me of Call of Duty. I forget what that mode is they have in Call of Duty.
Kill confirmed.
I think so. Where you pick up the cash, and then you have to like bring it to like the helicopter point.
Oh, you're about plunder from Warzone?
Yes.
You weirdo. What are you paying plunder?
It reminds me a little bit of that in that regard. But I think it's cool. It opens up the door for, okay, what else can happen with that whole cash mechanic? I'd love to see that applied to free for all, and you know, almost like a cash leaderboard. Yeah, it's X amount of it's like 15 minutes of go, you know, just nonstop on a bigger map, and then whoever has the top cash at the end of the game wins type of deal. Like that would be kind of cool. Yeah, but that opens the door. That opens the door to a lot of other limited time modes, which is exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. And one I will talk about just ever so briefly, because I did kind of tease it towards the start, and I will just kind of go over King of the Hill. I found out today from Mr. Lead Developer himself is becoming a permanent custom game mode. I do not know if it's becoming a permanent game mode within the game.
Wingman.
It's exactly like Wingman. It is, as far as I'm aware, becoming a permanent custom game mode, which means we should see it in comp. We should see it in community tournaments. I know I'll probably host the King of the Hill tournament. And we should see a little bit more variety to that rotation, which I really like. I think they're setting great groundwork with that. I think they really listened to the community on that one about, we want this, we love this. And although maybe aren't steering it into a full permanent mode yet, are kind of keeping that door open by having it a permanent custom. So very excited to see that. So I thought I'd just quickly announce that, just so that everyone is aware of what is coming for the future of that. But where do you want to go to next then on this roadmap? Where do you want to touch on? Got a few different avenues we can go down. I said none of it's like particularly like, oh my god, to me. So it would kind of go cosmetics, I guess, is kind of where we're leading here.
Yeah, I mean the cosmetic side of things, like they're releasing a lot of cosmetics coming up. I understand that's what pays the bills. but it feels after the last few weeks,
Mhm.
and then after seeing this, it's just like, man, like I don't want this game to feel like a cash grab.
Yeah.
But it's starting to really feel like it. Like
Mhm.
it really is. It's really starting to feel like we need to. They're releasing more content to sell skins than they are content to launch the game forward.
Yeah.
Like when you look at that roadmap that they went ahead and released,
Mhm.
what in that is going to launch the game forward in 2021? When you look at that summer roadmap, what is a this is a great decision. This will launch the game forward.
The only one that speaks to me is TDM. That is it. Other than that, I said nothing feels spectacular to me. Everything feels like, okay, Season 3 is just, the basics, new rogue, new map, blah, 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 new battle pass. Everything else just felt like meh. Like, it said that there's nothing. Like, the TTK Revert was like, or the TTK changes, sorry, were like, oh my god, this is like a really big decision they're making going forward with the game. Nothing in the next 3 months speaks to that to me, which is a shame. Honestly. It's, I've lost that hype for it, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I was so, how buzzing I was for Season 2. Every time anyone talked to me, like, Season 2's here, we're going, let's go. I felt it the first week. I'm like, okay, cool, small changes, but RogueCast is looking really good. TTK Revert hit, and I'm not gonna lie, my enthusiasm has gone down. And then this roadmap came out, and I was like, cool, let's just, and I was on stream, and I watched the announcement live. I watched partied it with stream, and I was like hyping it up. And I'm like, yep, it's gonna be great. But realistically, there's nothing there that is like amazing. There's nothing that's just like, yes, I need this now. With the exception of TDM, which I think is a good game. I think is it's a good direction. Like King of the Hill, they found more traditional game modes they're going with, and I like that they're adding that in. But yeah, other than that, like the cosmetics didn't really inspire me. I think there's some cool ones, but nothing that was really, grasping to me. I'm at the point now where I don't care about cosmetics. I've loved some of the ones. I've loved some of the ones 100%. They've released. I've felt mad about some of the ones they've released. But at this point, I'm just like, I'm just over it. I'm just, I need some meat to my dinner, not this.
No, that's definitely well said. I would say cosmetics are filler, and they're not. That is not the case here. Yeah. Like cosmetics in a free-to-play game are filler. That is not said here. So over the next several months, we will be filled and pushed on buying skins. Gameplay balance should not be on your roadmap, guys. Like gameplay balance should be on every single patch that you come out with every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
In addition to that, gameplay UI improvement.
Same sort of thing.
Same thing. Lever and AFK improvements is almost an insult to the last time you did something forever ago. Yeah. So it's like that should not be on there. If your free event is not like Frigid Hall, you are literally looking like greedy bastards. I'm sorry. Especially putting that on your summer roadmap. Let's go through this. Weapon mastery sounds like god awful and is not groundbreaking. And then legendary and exotic weapon wraps are just more cosmetic. So it's like I look at this and I see nothing of interest. I'm gonna be honest with you. I read through this and went, okay, I'm glad to see that the only team that's working is not just the cosmetics team. Yeah. And there's a few other departments working. But other than that, I agree with you. There's nothing for me to excited to get behind this. A new rogue coming out is not like, oh my god.
Yeah.
It's, and then it's just what, like if they had in here tournament mode, like you and I talked about, like adding some cool tournament mode, I'd be like, no shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
If they had in here, let's see, what else could they add into this?
Any leaderboards, stats.
Oh my god, we've been asking for that since this game became available to the public. Was like, okay, leaderboards, profile stats, visible MMR, an entire new rank system. I'm like we're two dudes over here. Yeah, it's like, come on, like those are the things that matter. It's like, oh my god, I would trade all of this stuff for one of those. If you came out and said we're adding leaderboards to your game and just put it in here, I'd be like, hot damn, we're gonna have a good summer coming up ahead. But instead, it's like, so this is telling me I need to wait till September until I see anything
Yeah,
of
and
value.
what's real concerning to me is that season 3 feels like it's going to be another rinse repeat of season 1 and 2 because
Yep.
there's nothing unique about it. There's nothing like leaderboards. There's nothing like a overhauled rank system. Imagine that little tag in there, right there. Imagine I would literally would not mind waiting till season 3 for the overhauled rank system. Like, I don't know. I don't know. It's uninspiring is the word that keeps popping into my head when I look at the roadmap, and it's not to bash the things that are on it necessarily. I think some of the stuff on it is pretty cool. I think some of the cosmetics are kind of cool. I think TDM is really cool. I think adding 6v6 for the first time is kind of cool, but it's kind of cool. It's not.
Yes.
It's
not groundbreaking.
Exactly. It's not what I'm just dying for in this game. And the TTK changes were not, and again, I've ended up talking about it. I said I wouldn't, but I'm going to talk about it again. I don't care which time to kill we have. I don't care if it's the fast or if it's the slow. I think both work fine for the game, depending how they balance it. What I mind is that was a direct decision they made of how to improve their game, and that was hype. That was good. That's what we want to see. I don't care. I do care if you revert every change you ever make, but like, trying to innovate something is really, really good. And I feel like, honestly, this revert has scared them. I think they're nervous. I am betting they are, like, really, really nervous about weapon mastery.
Handled moving forward now, though, is my concern. If it's like we use the revert as kind of like the oh crap card.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Revert. It's like, oh my god, like, what is actually going to stick in this game?
Yeah.
You know?
I have very little faith that weapon mastery is gonna come out and say. It
changes your game dramatically though, because like, think of it. Okay, I'm gonna look at this more. Take apart the casual side of it. Look at this from a competitive side. You're going into a competitive match, and traditionally, when you see what the other team has picked, you kind of know how to handle the situation because you know what type of weapons you're gonna run into, what type of gadgets, abilities. Now it's like, okay, I might run into a Lancer that has a sniper rifle.
Oh no! So she
no.
She would only have access to an SMG and shotgun, but you might run into a Lancer with an arbitrator.
Yes,
a roll reload arbitrator.
Perfect. You're absolutely correct there. And it's like, wait, what? Like, this is not. Who does this appeal to?
Yeah.
My two questions: who is it appeal to, and who's asking for it? Because I feel like it appeals to no one, and no one's asking for it. This is literally one of those. This feels like when I was part of the Realm Royale community, and there was discussion of getting rid of classes, and it was like, wait, your entire game stands out in the genre because it's a class-based BR that no one else is doing. Now you're literally taking the whole point of this game is rogue company, where there's some individualism to the rogues. And now you're starting to play with that. It's like, wait, the CEO who actually pushed them at that time, who's not Haristu now, back then, it was, what was his name? I know his handle is Blue Ogre. God, I can't remember the CEO then, but the CEO then had pushed on them to try to make the game Realm Royale more like Fortnite.
Yeah.
So he actually said, let's get rid of classes and let's think about putting a build mechanic into Realm Royale. Wow. And it was like, and he was forced out. Yeah. Like, but it was just one of those, like, he literally was making the game development decisions. And of course, your game devs are like, all right, CEO tells us what to do. We're going to do it. This is very much that feeling. Like, this is one of those things where it's like, who's asking for this and why?
Yeah, I would like to ask. I can actually justify it in my head. I can see the game design decision behind it and why it makes sense. Because what you end up having is, yes, you have balancing wise, you balance weapons. Like, people can go in with weapons. You kind of know what people are going into. People are fighting with very much the same weapons, meaning the skill gap is raised because everyone's fighting with the same weapon. Like, if you go Riptide versus Riptide, ain't no one complaining about time to kill. It's who outgun the other person. And then you actually, by proxy, put more focus on picking rogues for their abilities rather than their weapons, and things like that. Like, say the MXRs are busted again. Well, Fixer may drop out of meta because nobody wants to play with the Deadeye when the MXR is so strong. Well, now he can play with the MXR as well instead. So now his ability makes him more meta. Like, there's that justification that I can see it, and I think it's a kind of competitive decision, honestly. I think that's what it is. That feels very comp scene-y to me. As does adding King of the Hill to customs. So I think they're leaning comp scene again. That's actually what I'm thinking, and I've kind of thought about this the last couple of days. I think they're leaning there because those decisions kind of align to that. I think honestly that weapon mastery, because you get that even playing field. It comes to who is mechanically better and who is picking rogues for strategic rogue ability purposes rather than the weapons. So I justify it that way. I kind of think I get the decision making. Do I think it's going to help casuals? No. Do I think it takes away from a lot of the individuality of the game? Yes, certainly. Yep. And that for me is the biggest like pushback of like, it's Rogue Company. I picked Ronin to have my K30 and my SLC. It's like I don't know. It loses not only like some nostalgia for me having played so long, but just like some oomph about the game of like the weight of my decision in terms of my rogue and with the gunplay aspect. So I kind of see both sides. I'm not yet settled on my decision about how I feel about it. But we'll see on that one.
I think weapon mastery is the wrong terminology.
Oh, 100%.
It is not. It's not weapon mastery. I'm not really sure where. Come on, marketing team, you're better than that.
Global weapons is what it is. It's global weapons.
Yeah.
Is probably the best way to say. Or weapon classes. That's exactly what it is. It's weapon classes. We're moving from weapons to weapon classes. Which, direction that they decide to go. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. Yeah. Yeah, I've said a thought, and I don't even want to like bring it to life of like something they could do. I'm gonna say it. Of like getting weapons level 2 makes it better, but then you go into games with uneven weapons. I can't even I'm not fathoming it. I'm not even going to talk about it. But yeah, so that's how I feel about Rogue Company. I'm feeling kind of uninspired by the future of Rogue Company. Not saying that I think the game's gonna die. I think the game will fit into a Smite type style of.
Okay, I got one last statement.
Go for it.
You said that. Based off of what you see over the next 3 months, do you feel this is going to bring more people to the game or lose people?
I think
you don't have to give a full explanation, but it's really up to you.
I think they'll be in this sort of stagnant limbo they've been in, where they have people leave, people kind of join in. No one really stays for too long. It's like this sort of like 2-month cycle of player base is kind of what I feel like it's going to be. I don't see it. Based on what I see right now, nothing is inspiring new players to jump in. Nothing necessarily until weapon mastery is going to turn people away. TDM is fun. TDM may help the longevity of keeping people in because it's a more familiar mode to them. More casual mode rather than say your demolition, which is very, very sweaty.
Sure.
And more traditional than something like strikeout, which may be confusing to people. So
yeah.
We'll kind of see, but I think we're going to stay in this limbo period, honestly. I think that's what this roadmap to me looks like.
Yeah, I do not see this as a huge win for them. No. This roadmap does not show anything that is going to pull people in. Unfortunately, Rogue Company has started to become the game where you play it between your other games. So like,
yeah, I've had a lot of people like that.
I am finding more and more people I still play Rogue Company, but I'm not playing it every day.
Yeah,
I play it here and there because I'm playing other games versus like, oh no, I play Rogue Company all the time, and then I play Call of Duty once in a while.
Yeah,
no, it's the other way around. Rogue Company has become this filler game.
Yeah,
and it's a shame to hear that, but I will admit I've seen a lot of other people doing this, a lot of other content creators where it's just like there's nothing fancy and flashy in the game right now. So I don't disagree with them. So that I think is the big one.
Yeah,
that's definitely the big one where this roadmap is only going to hurt them, not help them. And it's a shame because it's like, oh, this is packed full of cosmetics to make money. Yeah, but if people are logging on less and they're like, oh, well, we added on a log on bonus.
Yeah.
See? And it's like, yeah, but the log on bonus isn't forcing me to stay and play the game every day.
Yeah.
Like that is the issue, is like, gotta add these heavy hitting items in there to keep people's interest. And it's odd because High Res is not a new developer.
No.
They've been around for years now. So it's like this type of stuff is nothing new. So it's just I don't know if this is because Like I know Gandhi's their lead
Yeah.
developer here. Is he also considered their game director? Because the game director, I think, would be somebody that has more experience in the space. Versus, I know with Gandhi, like he's coming over from competitive Halo. Okay,
Yeah.
great. Like that's fine, but it's like, what's the development background that would aid in addressing this? There really isn't any. So I assume there's a different game director that is determining the direction of the game, the road mapping,
Okay.
things like that. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I've
I
never
don't know the
heard
structure
of
of it.
somebody
Yeah.
that's like, my name's Radthar. I'm the game director of Rogue Company. You know, like I
Secret
haven't
revealed.
you
So
know, I
my
haven't heard.
choices.
That's right. I haven't heard that. So is the same lead developer the same guy who's also their game director? I don't know. If Gandhi is the game director, then a lot more makes sense. Where it's kind of, it's unfortunate, and I don't want to be rude, but it's unfortunate because it's like there isn't a lot of game development background. There's a lot of competitive background, which is awesome, which I think is helpful. But I feel like, how do I say this without being rude? I feel like we need a heavy hitter to come in and get the game back on track.
Okay. I mean, I can kind of say. I said I don't know what their development structure is.
I don't think anybody
no,
does.
and so it's interesting to know. I know they didn't want to do it. I know they didn't want to revert TTK. That's what I'm gonna end this one on. I know they didn't want to revert TTK. I know that it hurt them to do it. They put a lot of work into it. And I mean like a lot of work, like sleepless hour nights work into it, and they were forced to revert it. And I don't know whether that was a community decision that it sparked some higher up to say, get it out of here. Get out of here. We are losing players. Get it out of here.
Yeah,
and that's what happened, or whether they caved in that themselves. So I don't know. I guess my silent feelings, and I said I'm normally the real positive one here, and sort of pushing it. But my final feelings, I'm feeling uninspired by Rogue Company. I still love making content for it. I still love streaming it, and I enjoy the game when my controller isn't broken. Those of you who've been part of my streams know exactly how I feel about this. My controller is just busted, bro. But in terms of the future content, I don't feel inspired by what's going to be coming. I just feel like we're going to be in this sort of continual state of where we are, which is okay if you love the game, and I do love the game. But if you are iffy on the game, in between the game, it's a side game, you're not going to feel inspired by Rogue Company coming into the next couple of weeks. That's my final thought. But other than that, unless you have anything else you want to share here with everyone, I'm good to wrap.
No, I mean at this point, I think you and I are on the unfortunately in the same mindset.
Yes.
So I am hoping between now and our next show that we have something better to report on, and a little bit more a little bit less lackluster than what we talked about today.
Yes, I would agree. Until that show, guys, next week, I've been Radthar, this has been Octane, and we'll catch you next week. See you guys.